Welcome to the championship for NECC, I think. UWRF versus Southwest Minnesota State. I'm Vincent Crumry, the Overwatch head coach here, joined by
James Mullen, a UWRF alumni.
And we're ready to cast some games here. So we are getting right into draft here. Southwest State taking away the Belveth from Arrow Hunter on UWRF, one of his signature champions that he is very, very good at. Oh, it's NECC, my bad, not NECC. It looks like UWRF is interested in banning away some ADCs here from Southwest. I know their ADC is their highest ranked player, so UWRF is probably just banning away his best champs. Aatrox also taken away. Arrow Hunter once again eating another ban with the Briar. Aaron really likes these aggressive, get-in-your-face junglers, and they're denying that. Yep, so we're Riven first picked for UWRF, and followed by the counter pick on Renekton. Renekton's really good into Riven because your empowered W breaks shield, so if she ever E's in to trade with you, you can just break that shield, stun her up, and it's not an easy matchup for Riven. Ivern and Lee Sin for the jungle. Definitely Lee Sin's going to have an early advantage. Ivern's more of a scaling champ, but Lee Sin is very strong early game and will fall off later. Galio, Ahri in the mid lane here. Definitely a early Ahri favored lane, but then it transitions over to Galio as he gets more items and health and abilities, and he can start kind of pushing Ahri in a little bit more easily. Curious to see what we're going to be seeing in the bot lane here from both teams.
Yeah, I believe the last time that these two teams
Is this a Swain
faced up,
bot? This could be a Swain bot instead of... I don't think... Most people don't play the Swain support very much anymore. But it's looking like this is going to be a Swain bot
carry,
lane.
actually, yeah.
So there's going to be interesting.
So I don't know if you know this, Vinny, but this is actually something that we saw last time when we fought this
Oh, really?
team.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wasn't casting then.
So this is a rematch between these two teams. They were fought in the... I guess we should say group stages of NECC. And
the
now
regular season.
In the regular season. But now that we are into the playoffs, this is the finals, we are meeting them yet again. They did pull out the Swain in
The Swain bot lane?
in the bot lane earlier, but I don't remember it going very well.
Yeah, so actually one of the things that changed probably since we last played them was they got rid of MR and armor runes. So those no longer in the game, and that was Riot's reasoning for that was people just didn't pick MR runes when they played against AP bot laners. So they said after they changed this, they saw in general just like AP bot laners like Swain lose like 1% win rate. So I'm curious to see if this Swain bot lane is actually still strong. I know like my friend is a big Swain player. He started off on Swain support until like Swain kind of got reworked a couple times, like the E being like recast pull again and just like changed around a bit more, so he was more of a mid laner or a bot laner. And since then I know that Swain he basically, when he's playing in bot lane, you can't really fight, like you can trade, but you can't really kill anybody until you get 6.
Yeah, that can definitely be argued, especially in a lane such as mobile as Kai'Sa and Rakan.
Yeah, it's just like he just doesn't have the sustained DPS to just kill you outright. Like he can, if he lands E, he obviously gets a good chunk on you, and if he does it like 2 more times, then he'll just kill you. But if you're playing at all well, and if you're playing Kai'Sa, you should really never get hit by the E. You have your E to like get the movement speed to dodge it. It can be really, really tough, right, for that Swain bot lane to like have any kill threat on you prior to 6. And then obviously Swain gets outscaled by Kai'Sa.
Oh, absolutely. Kai'Sa is known as just more of an ADC than Swain is, but I think that's why they're bringing along the Nautilus, is for that extra CC to help lock down these mobility champions for the Swain.
Yeah, like I mean, if Nautilus gets up and he gets to auto you, then Swain has a really, really easy time just like landing his E, which is really important for him. But again, like that, there's a lot of ifs in that, right? There's a lot of like caveats to that statement where it's like you really have to be playing into them and letting them do things that you like. You really have to play into the Nautilus, right? Like you just don't let him walk up, you don't let him do any of these like degenerate things to you, and you'll be fine. Like, and again, if you're letting that Kai'Sa scale up, because again, remember it takes longer for you to hit 6 in the bot lane. It takes a while for Swain to get a 6, and it takes a while. It's like laning phase is almost done by the time bot lane gets 6, and so he's not really gonna have a lot of kill threat. He'll be strong in the first few minutes of team fights that occur, but then he's just gonna fall behind the Kai'Sa really
it's gonna be a Swain that doesn't have a lot of pressure at all.
Yeah, assuming the lanes go even.
Yeah, he won't be able to play around his
easy.
R if everything is on paper, I guess. If everything sticks there. Again, like you said, there could be a few mishaps. There could be a few missteps.
Anything can happen, right? That's why we play the games, right? It's not like predetermined at the select screen what's gonna happen in game. Obviously, Riven could win lane in the top lane depending on how much support she gets, and we could be seeing some very wild things happen. But you know, if everything plays out as it should, we'll probably be seeing Renekton coming ahead in the top lane, bot lane probably going relatively even, as well as mid lane, and then Ivern also probably we're gonna have to watch out for some early invades from Lee Sin. But if he's able to navigate the early game against Lee Sin, he'll come out on top as well in terms of like how much value he'll provide to the team.
Absolutely, and I think that's going to be interesting to see Arrow Hunter do, knowing that he is just so used to playing these carry champions, such as the targeted Bel'Veth ban, things such as that. I know that he plays a lot of Elise. So it's going to be interesting to see him on a more, I don't want to say support role, but more of a lockdown role than a strict damage get in your face kind of jungler.
It's definitely a support role. Ivern builds support items. He shields his teammates. He basically is the support jungler, right? And UWRF doing a 5-point here. It looks like Renekton is maybe walking in to see if he can find anyone. They're maybe trying to bait here, because I'm pretty sure UWRF saw him walk into this lane. So they're I'm curious to see how UWRF is going to respond to this, because this is definitely a bait here, but it doesn't seem like UWRF is really interested in taking it.
No, I don't think they're going to fall for it here. I think the vision was given by
Eerie. If he tries to walk that way, they might. Yep, they're going to fall for it here, but they're going to be able to get out here. Nautilus Hook maybe is going to get somebody. Flashes, but gets stunned up there. Yeah, that's going to be it for him. They get the first kill. The bait was successful, and that's really bad for when it's going to happen. Galio's almost certainly going to have to burn his TP here. He's electing to just walk back, but he might miss some XP here on the first wave, which is going to make his lane very, very difficult.
Yeah, misread on the Galio's portion as well as the entirety of UWRF. I think that they just didn't have vision and they didn't have the comms on where anybody was and who was missing from lane.
Yeah, don't expect that to work in future games. I think UWRF has learned their lesson and they'll see it coming in the future. But getting into it, yeah.
I do think that that's going to be invaluable for the Ahri, not just being a kill up, but having the flash down on the enemy mid laner. Yeah,
the flash is the bigger deal early, right? Because as Ahri hasn't gotten to recall and spend that gold yet, they're actually even in items. So it's really more the flash differential that she has at the moment. Good trade from both teams here, but again, I think I'm just in favor of the Renekton, right? He did that. He's running Doran's shield, which is odd. I think if I'm in the Renekton there, I definitely go Blade. Scale's better, and also just you're winning the lane. You don't need the shield, right?
Yeah, Nautilus Hook lands from Krillic going on Ravenhood, but Ravenhood is able to walk away unscathed. A little bit of chunk coming out from the bottom lane, but I think they're going to be
Aaron walking in here, going to root the Renekton, and just basically makes the trade even. Which is not what you want, right?
No, absolutely.
She's trying to help the Riven get the shove here, and it looks like Lee Sin is just going to let Riven push this in. But if I'm the Riven here, I think I just want to recall and get a base off.
A huge pull from Guy, but not a lot of follow-up. Krillic does land the hook, but there's not a lot of damage. Like you said, Swain just doesn't have the amount of burst.
He just doesn't have the sustained damage. He'll get the burst, but you see, like, Swain's autos just don't really do anything. They just kind of tickle. And, you know, if you get in, like, an extended train with Swain, that's when you really start to see the thing fall. Unfortunately, UWRF just eating every E here. They're really not spacing well against it, which is causing them to have gotten pushed in and take quite a bit of damage early. But, just not, you don't want to put yourself on that bottom side of the tower there. You just have nowhere to dodge. Really sets yourself up to get hit by these skill shots.
Arrow Hunter is looking for a bot lane.
Yeah, they do have the ward in the pixel brush down in the bot lane here, so Aaron doesn't opt for that route. Probably going to go in here. Yep.
Great knock-up from Ravenhood.
Knock-up from Ravenhood, however, burns the Swain Ghost, and he'll just leave here. So,
honestly, I'd take that trade if
I think that's a great trade,
a summoner down for the enemy ADC.
Yeah, it's definitely a very good trade. Here we see just in the top lane the Riven Oh, in the bot lane here. The flash out of Acrylic. Kill goes over the Kai, so they probably weren't expecting Aaron to still be bot lane. He actually just opted to stay. And now I'd like to see them really just zone this Swain off of the wave if they can. Swain kind of running low on mana, just doesn't have the CDR. Just push this wave in and maybe just get your recall off, right? Slow push. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Frigely's done really well with the CSing aspect of it, not playing hyper-aggressive into the Swain.
Yeah, 10 CS up on the Swain. Here we're going to see UWRF
Riven might be in trouble. Astral
going
in for a little bit of a tower dive. Pajama's going to take 2 shower shots, and both of them are going to be down to 1 HP. Coming out not unscathed,
and
but alive.
I'm the Renekton there. I dive this Riven, and I just trade. Because you get the recall off, you make her lose part of the wave, and you go 1 for 1. It's not the end of the world.
It's going to be a little bit more of a tempo difference in that
I think he just didn't want to. He just didn't want to risk. He didn't want to risk the chance of Riven, Riven stunning him up and just not being able to secure the kill and really throwing the game. So opts for the safe play, and also is going to TP in here to maybe catch the wave and freeze it. We'll have to see what Renekton opts into doing.
Ravenhood did rotate up to the top part of River just to support in the Grub take. It doesn't look like Pajamas has any awareness in the top bush, but he's going to be
so he doesn't know there, but he pulls the wave there to set up a freeze here. So Riven's going to be also forced to TP back now, just to stop the freeze. But meanwhile, UWRF uncontested on the Void Grubs, is just going to be able to get both of them here. Lee Sin heading into the bot lane. Curious to see if he'll head over to try and maybe start up the Drake as like, you know, a retaliation for giving the Void Grubs for free.
Yep. Surprisingly, Astral is actually able to push in this wave really hard on the road.
Yeah, well, he has a better buy at the moment, right? Renekton opted for Longsword. Well, actually, Renekton's getting really out-farmed in the top lane there. He's down quite a bit of CS.
Quite a colossal CS difference when you look at the
Yeah,
tempo.
well, maybe it's the wave differential, but he did back a wave sooner, so he didn't get quite as good of a buff, right?
Well, he'll be able to catch up on this wave because Riven does not have any TP up, so as we like to say.
Yeah, well, neither do.
And unfortunately, that's going to be a lost wave for the Riven, at least partial wave.
So UWRF looking like there might be a bot fight coming out here.
I don't know if they want to contest this Drake.
Ahri hasn't quite. Renekton actually roaming down to the Drake right now from top lane. So UWRF probably going to spot him on the mid wave, crossing over.
Hopefully the Galio calls it out.
And is just going to opt to let this Drake go. Just farming his camps instead. Just saying, you know what? It's one Drake. It's not the end of the world. We'll be fine.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, in the position of River Falls, I would take 3 Void Grubs over a Fire Drake for first Drake, honestly.
Yeah. And this is giving, like, these Void Grubs here are going to give this Riven the plate. She's going to capture a couple extra waves that this Renekton is losing in the meanwhile, right? Renekton did give up some XP in waves, right? You see the Riven, the level up now. And kind of same goes for bot lane a little bit, right? Fridley got to sit in the bot lane and catch up a little bit on some XP and CS, and we should see him probably go ahead here after he catches this wave, just by a little bit. Otherwise,
there was a lot sacrificed.
Not much action going on in the mid wave. I mean, besides that kill at level 1, Galio has started to turn the matchup and is now 10 CS up over the Ahri. But pretty stable, actually, just across all the lanes at the moment. I think we're going to start seeing after around 15 minutes is probably when the game's going to start getting a little spicier.
Absolutely.
But for the meanwhile, I think both teams are kind of happy to farm, and I think that is in favor of UWRF right now, right? Riven definitely outscales Renekton in the top wave. Kaisa definitely outscales, definitely outscales the Swain. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
And Galio probably goes pretty hard into this team comp, right? You have the AP bot laner, the AP mid laner, and Galio pretty good into AP damage because of his passive, his magic shield passive.
That's what I was going to say, is Galio I think scales in just a different way. Maybe not in the 1v1 matchup against Ahri, but in terms of their entire team comp, he's going to be a lot more useful than team fights.
I would really like to see the Merc Treads come out against this composition, right? There's a lot of CC and a lot of magic damage. And I think that's going to serve UWRF really well. So I'd be curious to see if maybe we see some Merc Treads rushed in the mid lane here.
Yes, we will see when we see the items next, but it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a scuffle in the top side of River. Maybe not.
No, nothing quite happens.
Renekton is getting dove.
Renekton dove Ivanalt out here. The Dominus comes out. Is he going to be able to kill Aaron Hunter? Aaron Hunter forced to flash away to not give the kill, but that does go over to
but the Lee Sin is
but
here.
Lee Sin is going to try and finish this up. He lands the Q,
able to protect?
Going under tower, and will get the kill. So actually, a 1-for-1. Ivern rotating, or Galio rotating over, but Riven doesn't have her ult anymore. She did use it. Ahri ult popped, forced the flash again.
Astral is still trying to go
Riven
in on this.
Coming in, gets kicked away. Charmed up, Galio comes out. I think they're going to chase this. Flash comes in, Lee Sin ward jumps, puts the thing out, but Ahri also forced the flash. Is she going to get CC'd here? She gets the taunt off. That's going to be Ahri down. Goes to mid lane, Galio picking up that kill. So
yeah, and that's something.
And that's on Void Grub spawn here. So I think Lee Sin, they know, is going to have to base here. They've got 3 people up here. Ravenhood, the Rakan is going to be rotating up here just to make sure that that goes in favor of UWRF. And I think this is going to be a 6 Void Grub game for UWRF, which is absolutely huge for pushing towers, right? You get all the extra true damage as well as little minions now once you get 5 and 6. So UWRF is going to be very happy with this play that went down.
Yeah, I think the way that River Falls is going to want to play the rest of this game is on the back of those Void Grubs. They're going to be capitalizing off of those team fights and those pushes. So I think we're going to see a lot of hopefully the top River play, maybe towards the top.
Looks like 3 rotating up to maybe dive this Renekton, but he just walks out. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Swain ulti coming out, flashes away, trying to get out of that ult, but he takes most of the health. TP coming out from Galio here, but there's 3 members in the bot lane. Are in the river there, and so he's just going to have to opt to just walk back mid lane. Gets caught by the Swingy, but not much is going to come of it.
Yeah, Ivern is going to go for a little bit more.
Fridley needs to be very careful here. Burns his heal. Doesn't really want Ahri just hitting turret. Doesn't get a plate yet, but I think the Rakan really needs to rotate back down to his laner here.
Yeah, the Lee Sin is coming down. Looking for a
dive.
But I think
Fridley spots it out and just decides to walk back.
But he's gonna.
He's not gonna tower dive. If he has flash he lives, but he might die. Lee Sin does get to walk it out. Unfortunately, that's gonna be a huge disadvantage in the bot lane. Gonna miss all those waves as well as giving a kill over to Lee Sin.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's still kind of an even game. You look at all these kind of mishaps from the side of River Falls where there's, like the Rakan is not being placed exactly where you want it to be. It's not supporting the players you want them. He's kind of just roaming in the top side of River. But the game is still severely close, if not favoring River Falls.
I would say they still have a 500. They still have they have a slight gold advantage here, about 800, 900 gold advantage, which is nothing to scoff at. It's definitely smaller than what we've seen these past couple nights here on either side of the team. And there comes out the Empowered Stun. Dominus popped. Riven going to press her ulti. And they're just going to kind of walk away, and no one's really going to fight each other here. It looks like we're going to be, setting up for maybe Drake coming down here. Mountain Drake is up in the bot lane.
Yep, Astral is going to get solo killed by Pajamas. A huge play from the Renekton, and he might be able to rotate down bot to secure the second
and I don't know if he has a TP up, but it's going to be coming up soon, shortly. So it looks like UWRF is just going to opt again to give another Drake over, which isn't necessarily what you want to be doing. Like, it's still fine to give 2. It's not the end of the world. It's to start when you start giving about 3 is when it gets really uncomfortable, because then you're only 1 steal away from giving this. But Riverfall is actually coming back in. They're actually going to be looking for this thing. Renekton TP coming out. Smite goes off early. Lee Sin able to pick it up. Riven TP in as well as Renekton.
Yeah, Daisy does come out. A lot of CC being applied.
Nautilus goes down. Renekton looking like just a monster in this fight. It looks like this is going to be all of River Falls falling minus Kai'Sa if Kai'Sa can get away. But
Kai'Sa
huge.
was able to 1v1 the Lee Sin, but the rest of her team falls. And they're going to be hunting down the lone
They
AD
might
carry.
be setting up a dive here. If he gets hit by the charm, there's a very good chance that he goes down. Dodges the charm out. Renekton takes 2 tower shots, almost dies, and it looks like they're just going to probably just shove the wave in. I think they rushed it a little bit. If they would have sent Ahri in between the towers and then just sent Renekton, Swain, push the wave, I think you have a very easy dive here, right?
I think that's also just not respecting the Kai'Sa poke. I think understanding how Kai'Sa can kind of secure you under the tower as long as you take 1 shot, that Renekton really needed to wait for the charm to make sure that the damage was off of him.
Yeah, I also don't know if Kai'Sa has her R up, because if Kai'Sa has her R up, it's a lot harder to dive her. You know, she gets the shield, she gets the reposition.
I believe the Kai'Sa R was used during the last team fight to take out the Lee Sin, because the Lee Sin was diving the backline while Kai'Sa was in the pit, so she had to R out of the pit to avoid the Renekton and all of the other CC coming out from the Nautilus. So R was burned, but
So see, after that fight, the gold differential has shifted in favor of Southwest Minnesota, but not by much. You actually see that the gold is pretty much equal. Lane gank coming in, but Lee Sin here in the top, so he's going to expect him to be coming in here.
It's going to be a solid 2v2 fight, but I think I'd rather be on the side of Southwest Minnesota
University.
I
think I would be as well. Renekton just in a vacuum beats Riven. And right now, Lee Sin definitely ahead. Definitely a very strong member on the side of
Here he is,
Southwest.
1v1ing Devoted. And the trades are going to come out about
and
a fourth of their health is going to get chunked.
Yep, Galio just trades out pretty evenly there. Not too bad.
We're going to see yet another 1v1. Frigidly just trying to back up.
Frigidly dodging that E.
Range.
Alt
the Rakan knockup does come through.
I think we're going to see the Swain drop here. And the Kaisa ult comes out. Does he have his Q? His Q should be up shortly.
Is there enough damage to secure it? There's
and
a lot of damage coming out
of the
damage.
Yeah,
very Swain, nice. Almost a double kill if led on for 2 more seconds with that Swain R, but
yeah.
Just a little too much. Arrow Hunter is getting pinched right now between the mid laner and the top laner.
Getting charmed up here. Lee Sin heading top as well. We'll see if they catch this and rock out. Ariel coming out, and it looks like they're going to be able to walk away from this gank here. Even the Nautilus has decided to come join the party. That's why we didn't see him down there in the bot lane.
Yeah, Southwest Minnesota is dedicating a lot of resources for this top push, but I don't think they're going to get anything off of it. We still have a lot of good.
Well, I think they're going to rotate over to the Rift Herald here and maybe take that.
Looking for a little bit of a fight right now. But
and I think UWRF can just give this, right? You shouldn't. Rift Herald is not as strong as it once was. They also have 0 Void Grubs to empower this Rift Herald, so when the Rift Herald crashes, you're not going to get all those minions.
A bajillion little ants.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they should be just fine giving this over. It's really not the end of the world.
In the meantime, bot turret is taken from River Falls. I believe that is first turret on the map.
Yeah, Rift Herald, and they just kind of trade that Herald, or the tower for the Herald, which at the end of the day, what does Herald do except get you a tower?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Not the end of the world, and it looks like they're going to be opting to try and get this top tower.
I think Galio is coming up to the top side just to help out.
Galio and Ivern are rotating up to this top, and like, you got half the turret.
Half the health is dropped,
and that's whatever,
the gold
right?
is gained from Rift Herald. But what do you lose? You lose a lot of farm in the bottom lane for your support in the Nautilus, and you lose an entire turret on the bot side. So
yeah.
if I'm River Falls, I'm still sitting pretty, honestly.
I'm still pretty happy about this, right? I think it's whatever. Can we take a look at the items in the game currently? I'm just curious to see what the spikes are. So both Riven and Renekton basically living on the same spikes. Lee Sin definitely ahead of Ivern in the jungle, but Ivern's items are much cheaper, so relatively similar there. Galio also just a tiny bit ahead and a lot of MR. It's going to be very hard.
A lot more tankier than the Ahri is.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for the Ahri to actually trade with the Galio anymore. And in the bot lane, pretty even as well, right? We see the Kaisa got her Man Immune and her boots and Lost Chapter, whereas Swain just has the Seraphs as well as his Ionian boots. Support gold also looking pretty even. So all in all, pretty even game here.
Yeah, and you honestly, if we take a glance towards the top side as well, unless there's going to be a little bit of a dive here. No, Galio is just going to be clearing the wave. On the top side, that last tower push from the Riven and the Ivern, you can see the power of those Void Grubs. The tower was at about 3/4 health, and now it's down to almost nothing.
Yeah, and we're going to have to be looking here. Another Drake fight set up here. Let's see if they actually determine they want to go here. Nope. So 3v3 here, jungle support mid laner versus jungle support bot laner. Kaisa catching the mid wave right here before Ahri's going to rotate over, and I assume Kaisa will follow. She just needs to be careful not to get picked by the Ahri over
looks
here.
Like it's going to be a solid 4v4 scrap.
Just absent the top laners, living on their own little island as they usually do.
Both top laners do have TP up.
Yep. All ultimates available here.
Oh, both TPs are coming in.
2 TPs coming out.
Huge scrap going in the middle of the bottom
coming
of the river.
out.
Yep, Daisy is going to be applying a lot of the CC into that front line, but weak side Ottoman is going to be hitting the back line right now. Who is taking care of this Lee Sin?
Riven forces the flash on Ahri. Ahri gets knocked up. Is going to fall. No, she is not. She's going to actually get a double kill on 1 health, and that's going to be another good dragon fight. I think UWRF just needs to just opt out of these fights. They need to play for these 1v1s right now. I think, honestly, it's just the Renekton is easier to play. The Swain is easier to play in these team fights right now, and you just need to give your Kaisa like time to scale up, right? And Kaisa is not really going for like the uber just output a ton of damage. She's going for the poke build. So she's actually not really wanting to like get into these all-out fights right away. She wants to really poke down her opponents ahead of time.
Absolutely.
So I think UWRF just needs to maybe play towards their composition just a little bit more in these fights. Because, like, you know, they've been ahead in gold, and they've taken these 2 5v5s, but they've lost both of them. I don't think there's any problem just, like, leveraging your Void Grubs to just push towers while you're giving up the Drakes, right? And then just get that vision control later on the later Drakes, and then maybe you'll be in a better condition. But who knows? I think Riven is going to get potentially pieced out here.
Trading her life for
just
a little
running
bit of tower,
away. She trades half her life for the tower, but is she just going to have to concede tower literally now? It's hard to say. She'll probably go for
flash up, so
curious to see if she'll look for a fruit, but just opts to just
might need to just pop it back here.
Nope, she's going to look for a fruit in the river and try to get her health back before she walks back top here.
Yeah, and I think what you were talking about earlier is definitely the problem that River Falls is facing, is that they really want to do this front-to-back methodology with the Ivern ult, as well as just having a Galio in general. But you can't really do that with this kind of Kai'Sa build. You need to you want to kite your enemies in terms of playing around objectives. You want to kite them into towers, things like that. You need to prolong the fights for as long as possible.
They don't have, so the issue is because of how their Kai'Sa is building, she's basically an AP bot laner. She doesn't really have
AP Kai'Sa, the return.
She doesn't really have the sustained damage output that you need to play fights like that, right? And if you're going to play into the Swain like that, all 5 as a meatball, then you're playing exactly into what Swain wants you to do, right?
Oh, yeah, a lot of AoE burst.
It's not even AoE burst. It's just he just gradually drains you down and becomes harder and harder to kill if you don't just focus him down. So both times we've seen all of the resources from UWRF go into killing that Nautilus, and then after Nautilus dies early, UWRF doesn't have any of their cooldowns they need, and then they all just start falling over as the team fight goes on in length. And so I think they need to not burst this Nautilus, they need to burst some of these carry champs, right?
Astral might be caught out here with the Pajamas stun.
Nope. But tower is going to be going down relatively shortly here. So
Ivern is here for the support on top side.
Yeah, so Ivern does recognize this, rotates up to help Riven kind of get this wave without letting them hit the tower.
It's going to be a solid 2v2, but the wave is cleared and the tower survives for another day.
Yep.
The mid laners have rotated down.
Yep.
To the bottom side.
So both bot lanes have rotated mid as bot lanes do. And we're going to probably be seeing just like a lot of Galio side lane because of the ult he has, a lot of Riven side lane because that's what Riven does. But so far, again, just game is kind of slowing down. Not really much to do at the moment.
And yet it could pick up at any time. When you look at the enemy team, the Lee Sin and the Renekton both have Eclipse completely online along with other items including boots. They can run you down really quickly.
Well, this Lee Sin is going to be really strong, and it's going to be really hard for UWRF, like the Ivern, right? He just completed Serpent's Fang here, and it looks like Ahri's also completed her second item. So Ahri Lee Sin is going to be really devastating because you have the mixed damage. Lee Sin is going to take off half of the shields you get from the Ivern pick. So if Ivern is trying to take a fight and Lee Sin shows up, it's going to be pretty hard for Ivern to make the difference. And then you also have just this very fed Ahri who can really pick any of the squishies. The only really super ahead member on UWRF is the Kai'Sa. And even then, Swain still has 2 kills and this equal CS.
Ooh,
so.
TP coming out from Devoted, but he is going to be rooted.
Yep.
Not able to get a pick just yet.
Curious what the fight is.
Astral's just going in. He might be pushed up a little bit too far, but nobody's trying to capitalize on the side of Southwest Minnesota University.
Boy.
And the Blast Cone is taken by Ravenhood. The knockup is good, but can he ult out? The Galio ult does come through, but the backline is being hit by Autumn, and he's going in for a little bit of flank. Misses the Q.
Comes out,
Redemption does heal the rest of them.
But
now,
this is that Swain just doing so much work in this team fight.
It is all going to be down to the only living member, Eerie.
Lee Sin just absolutely murdering UWRF here. But yeah, exactly. Like this is just the third fight that UWRF has opted into, and they've just gotten crushed. I really think that UWRF
going for a cheeky ward jump. Is he going to
can't be
try a tower dive? He does, but Eerie buffers it. A crazy play by the Oh my gosh, by the mid laner on the side of UWRF, that was incredible.
Predicts the Q coming in and stuns the Lee Sin under tower, which is enough to get the shutdown for him. So
what kind of reflexes you have to do that?
I think it was a prediction.
To buffer a Lee Sin jump
there.
like that? That's crazy.
I think it was very much a prediction. I don't think you can super react to it with Galio E since it does have that wind up.
You know, we'll meet in the middle and say half and half. Nonetheless, very, very impressive for the Galio player. Proving his worth for the team, 2, 3, and 4, a typical
Swain completing his second item here, which is Malignance, which is going to mean that Swain's ult is going to do even more damage and also be up even more. So this is a soul fight, and I don't think UWRF, based on what we've seen these last 3 team fights, is really keen to be taking this, right? Kai'Sa just is trying to poke down these people, gets Nautilus to about half health, but like again,
Astral might get chunked here, does have the charm, but
this is what Kai'Sa wants to be doing ahead of time, right? She wants to be sitting here just spamming her W, getting you as low as possible before the fight breaks out.
The Drake is started, but the Blast Cone is taken by Guy. Is Guy going to be able to get shot down? No, he's too tanky. Arrow Hunter's brought down to half, almost killed, but the shield comes out. Ottoman is going to be jumping down onto the backside. Frigidly has been chunked down, and Ottoman with the huge knockup takes out 2 of them.
Just too big. Just absolutely murdering UWRF this fight. Just can't Q's in, E's, and just chunks everyone to like half health and kills them. Complete ace here from the side of Southwest Minnesota here. And curious to see if they're going to rotate over to do the Baron here or not.
A devastating loss on the side of UWRF. You cannot be giving an entire Drake and 5 kills over in one sitting. You got to have at least one person escape, but they fully committed yet again into the fight that they just couldn't win.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they don't want to give soul, right? This is the nature of playing for topside and giving those 2 early Drakes and then losing that 3rd team fight to give soul point is that soul points come and you guys haven't been able to win a team fight. And I really think a good chunk of this comes down to the Kai'Sa build. Like she's just not able to output the DPS needed to kill a lot of these things. Like UWRF just hasn't been able to like set up these fights early enough, give enough vision for Kai'Sa to really play around.
Astral just taking the Blast Cone right into 2 members.
Yeah, and he's going to get collapsed on. This is looking like Astral's just
the Galio wall does come in, takes the knockups. Is he going to be able to save his top laner? I don't know. Guy is going to be pumping a lot of damage. Guy does also get chunked. There might be a 1-for-1 trade, but the heals come out and the shields from the Lee Sin.
River Falls not able to continue this fight here. And
really, able to get away.
That Chemtech soul is probably what kept Guy alive, right? After you fall below 50% health, you take 10% less damage and do 10% more. So Galio looking mighty, mighty tanky, but just doesn't have the damage to really follow up on these kills. And so Guy's going to get out.
And a single kill would have turned the tide here in this game, but sadly, just none of them could be secured on the side of River Falls.
Yeah, Guy just got out with just like 1 HP, but they're going to take this down tempo time with the Swain rebacking and these Void Grubs to try and force a lot of this mid fight. UWRF now down 5K in terms of gold.
They're going to be trying to kite
Renekton going here. Pretty low here. I'd be curious to see, but it looks like they're going to try and force another fight on UWRF, and they're going to catch Ravenhood out here. Not the end of the world, support going down, but again, just like this is going to allow them to pressure this Baron here.
Yeah, Daisy and the support.
I think this is just the tough spot of being in like not able to win a team fight, right? Is like if you're not winning a team fight, you really need to be splitting your lanes and like sending 1-3-1ing or whatever the case may be, just to make sure that you maybe can force like a small skirmish. But at this point in the game, like everyone is so far ahead on.
I don't think there's going to be any way where we can contest the Baron at this point. I think if Southwest Minnesota University wants to get this Baron, and we don't have Ivernar, we don't have the Rakan up yet. He's just going to be sitting in Fountain for a bit.
We're good. Go back.
What's going to happen is we're just going to be contesting nothing, right?
Yeah.
We're just going to be giving kills at that point. They're just going to try and kite the Baron. They're going to turn on us immediately. They're going to turn on River Falls, and one stun comes out from Pajamas, and everyone's going to be jumping on top of them.
Looks like they're going to abandon doing the Baron here.
Oh, interesting.
I think maybe what they wanted was UWRF to like just show up to Baron and then opt for a turn and try to fight. But I don't think this was the correct play from Southwest. I think Southwest could have just forced that Baron and just kept pushing, because UWRF is just going to be forced to just run here.
Arrow Hunter forced the flash out. Unfortunately, these blast cones are destroying the blue side team. Like, this is unbelievable. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times a blast cone has either led to the death or
mid lane turret drops here, I think. Can we get a check on that? Yeah. So mid tier 2 goes down. Nobody on UWRF was around, but they did have the wave pushed in that they abandoned, and nobody on Southwest actually cleared it, so it actually resulted in the turret dropping there.
Yeah,
I really think they should have just finished out the Baron, gave up their mid tier 2, gotten the Baron buff, and then just like come back and then fight, right? I don't think there was really any necessity of doing what they did.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of tunnel vision on the side of Southwest Minnesota University. I think what they wanted is they kind of assumed that everyone was pushing into the tier 2, so they're like, guys, we can come up behind him with a fat flank and get all 4 members. But you know, River Falls kind of saw that coming. They had vision on the top side of the jungle, and they knew
having
that they were getting crushed
having
on.
some glitches here with the replay. Not sure exactly what's going on, but we seem to be stuck at exactly 28 minutes.
Hey, that's no worries. A little bit of technical difficulties never hurt
here we
anybody,
go.
But we are back in action.
It looks like we just need to rewind it and go forward. So, back into the game. No one has really done much, it seems, since then. Southwest hasn't really opted for a Baron play again. Elder is going to be up pretty soon, I believe. I'm not sure exactly what the timers on it is going to be, but it's 5 minutes after the last dragon got taken. So curious to see what's going to happen. But I think if I have an inkling of a suspicion of what might happen is I think UWRF probably going to have to be forced to take a 5v5 and live with the consequences of that, which aren't going to be too good. It looks like Riven is pushing up here blind and caught.
Yeah, no vision for Astral. Getting caught.
No, Leeson misses the Q, and also Nautilus misses the hook, so they're able to walk out of there no problem.
And we're just back to a little bit of a laning phase.
It looks like at every minute it pauses, so do you want to just do your little go back and just a little bit and then go forward?
Hey, that's no worries. We're still here to enjoy some awesome sound design from the Riot devs.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to have to let it buffer a little bit again.
But that's all right. I do think that if Southwest Minnesota State University decides to split the map for some reason, if they want to go for Elder and Baron, then River Falls is going to have a win condition in that regard.
Yeah, can we take a look at the gold on the champions here while we've got this downtime while we're waiting for the game? So Renekton up about 1,000 gold. Lee Sin is where the big gold diff is.
Yeah,
3K.
The 80 carries are very, very close.
3K for the thing, and also there's a 1K gold. So yeah, Lee Sin is the biggest gap here. Arrow Hunter definitely down quite a bit of gold in terms comparatively to this Lee Sin. However, it looks like we're just not getting this. Our replay does not want to keep going here.
Yeah, but that's all right. Going back into the gold, the Rakan is actually 200 higher from the Nautilus, so a little bit more activity in lane, a little bit more CS, you know, but
unfortunately,
that is not going to be a big enough gap to trump the jungle difference. But it is still something. It is a
gold
small
on
win.
Support does not matter. I hate to tell you. You know, it's just
trying to keep an open mind.
It's pretty insubstantial, right? Like a Nautilus 3K up over a Rakan is not really doing much more in a team fight than he already was.
Yeah, but when we're just looking at strict gold differences, there still is a staggering, surmountable difference.
I mean, 5K is not the end of the world.
I would say it's definitely high when you're comparing it to also 4 Drakes, Soul, and I believe that River Falls does have an advantage in
so we're swapping over here to our mid laner. It is pretty low frame rate, but we'll live with it.
Yeah, that's no problem.
And it looks like UWRF somehow got Baron. I wonder, did they trade it for Elder? Or what occurred? I'm not really sure. Maybe we've finally come online with our team fighting power?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Or
this is
they
exactly
maybe
what I was
snuck
talking
it.
about. I'm wondering if Southwest University was either going to split the map or decide between Elder and Baron. And it looks like my question was answered. They decided on to Elder, but
I don't see
River Falls was able to split.
Do they have Elder buff? No,
Maybe
they
Elder
don't.
was denied. Oh, yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
They don't have Elder
I'm
buff.
looking at Chemtexol. You're right. But Erie might be in a little bit of trouble right here.
Yeah, this Lee Sin, though, goes down. Lee Sin comes in a little too early, and Lee Sin, one of the more fed members on the team.
Ooh, and now we are just
dumping
our
utility
utility
the Swain
kits
out, which means Swain's not going to have ult for this next fight. I think if there's ever a time for UWRF to take a fight, it's right now.
Absolutely. These are great mechanics and great learning experience from the side
Rakan
of
ult coming in. stuns up the Nautilus, and it looks like UWRF could actually look for an end here. They have Baron, they have 6 Void
and they
grubs.
have grubs. Yeah, this is huge. This is exactly what we were talking about. The grubs are going to be paramount.
And they just destroy these towers right here. I mean, look at the damage on the turrets.
The towers are going to be shredded down. Only 2 living members on the side of Minnesota.
Huge stun coming out from Galio, and it looks like UWRF is just going to take this game. I don't know what happened. We didn't get to see what occurred in those last couple of minutes. Maybe I'll go talk to Dylan, and I'll maybe come back, and in one of these pauses I can inform you guys of what actually occurred in the middle of the game here.
Vinny, that was incredible to come back to.
Yeah,
we flashed to the top side of the map, low frame rate, just looking into the
Dylan, what occurred from 29 minutes to the end?
Incredible.
We were down 5K gold, and now we all of a sudden won. What happened while we were frozen up there?
Did you see us get Baron?
No, we didn't. We just saw that.
Did you see us get Elder?
No.
So they conceded Elder and then Baron and then.
Like they didn't come to fight?
They burned everything on a bad pick and then we finished the game.
Oh, interesting.
Wow, amazing objective play on the side of UWRF. That was a fantastic clutch. Being in the driver's seat for a little bit of the early game, the entire map swaying into the side with 4 Drakes for Southwest Minnesota University, and then bringing it back with a double Elder and Baron combo.
It seems like
that's incredible.
It sounds like Southwest just made a really big mistake, which then let UWRF get both of the big objectives, Elder, which is like the strongest buff in the game, into Baron, which is like the second strongest buff in the game, unless you want to count a soul. And then after that, it was just like they pushed through, they had their Void Grubs, and they just closed out the game. So,
and on top of that, great team play from River Falls at the end of that. Like we saw on the top side, they started kiting instead of just going right into the middle of the fight.
Here, let's pull that over to. I'm gonna move the thing and maybe. Oh, it looks like we're getting moved to. Oh God.
Hey, no worries. We're still here to give you some commentary. You might be going in for a little bit of a replay here to see exactly
30
what
minutes
happened.
here. So yeah, go to the thing. So this is from our mid laner's perspective here on the game replay. So
this is immediately after River Falls lost the last 5v5 fight. Yep. Everybody was down. Everyone spawns in Fountain, holding hand in the shower, right? Now, as we see right here, Southwest Minnesota State University is a little bit tentative on what they want to do. They kind of are.
No, they're trying to position. They're trying to position for Elder because Elder hasn't spawned yet. However, there's 2 of them that had recalled, so UWRF is able to kind of get this positional advantage because of the 2 members coming out of Fountain right now. So UWRF is going around securing their vision control at the moment. Riven goes in.
A little bit of a poke.
Probably is going to gets ulted up here. And then Nautilus comes in. Here comes the fight. UWRF pops the Shurelya's to get out of it. Swain ult is gone. Nautilus ult is gone.
And all it was traded for was the Ivern ult.
Yeah, UWRF just trades
so now we're
able
to go right back in
Riven
with 2 of their ults down.
Here comes the Galio ult.
Galio ult goes huge, knocking up 2 of the
down
frontliners.
Instantly, which is one of their strongest champs. Then Nautilus goes down. And yeah, UWRF just baited the important team fight ults and then just cleaned up the fight. And I think part of it too is like this Kaisa now is on her 3-item spike, which means that her W is like hitting significantly harder than it was prior. So it's just like UWRF is just like slowly scaling up, right? Where we talked about the scaling advantage on the side of UWRF. So then they get the Lee Sin, they get the Nautilus, they get the Renekton, which allows them to take this Elder buff here, and then that just sets them up to take Baron, right?
Yeah,
because you can't.
Absolutely.
It's so hard to fight any team with Elder buff. For those of you who don't know, Elder basically just once you have Elder buff, if you do damage to an enemy champion, the second they get to 30% health, they just get instantly killed by the Elder buff.
It's an execute.
So if you do the math out, right, and you take 30% times 5, it's like you take 150% of the enemy team's health, right? Like if they have a whole total of 500%. So it's like they have like a whole member and a half less of their health than what they normally would have. And so it's just like, oh, any CC, any of those, like, if you catch somebody out, you can just burst people so easily. And so then this just allows them to just, like, run right to Baron. And also, on top of that, Elder buff also applies a true damage burn to you. So you're taking even more damage.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with, yeah.
Yo, I mean, the bigger part is the execute.
I didn't know it was 30%, so that's very eye-opening.
Insanely strong.
And like you said, it was 150% for the whole team if we're
talking
combined
if you're talking about, like, yeah, their total percentage health, if that you set it at 500%, you basically get 150% of their health.
That is some hardcore gamer math.
Yeah, I know. So
and
that's how I look at it.
exactly what River Falls was thinking too.
That's how
exactly
I look at it. So then, yeah, then they go Baron because they won the Elder fight. They just get to go Baron here, and like
Southwest University
you see,
like
Southwest University doesn't even want. They don't even want to contest this because they're right now with Elder buff. You never want to take a 5v5, right?
Looks like they're going right for the inhibitor though, just to
so
apply
they
some
take the
phantom
tier
pressure.
2. They take the inhib turret, but now they back off because they know the Baron and Power recalls are gonna be there really fast, and they don't want to get caught. So now UWRF has Elder, has Baron. They basically can just push whatever lane they want, and like it's gonna be incredibly hard for Southwest to contest.
Yeah,
so they basically have 3 minutes here.
I think that's why Riven was sent bot, is that the only advantage that River Falls didn't have in this instance was just a tempo advantage. And that's why we're pushing in mid and partial bot.
And Galio's rotating top now to shove this here.
Oh, yeah. So
they're 1-3. This is what we call the 1-3-1, right? You send 3 members mid lane. You send 1 member top, 1 member bot. And they push all 3 waves because you have Baron. And what you want to do is you want to kind of get all of your waves in a similar position, and then with those, you siege each lane tower, and the enemy team has to make a choice. What lane do we go to? What lane are we going to try and stop the siege on? And, well, you can't. You can't stop all of them.
And River Falls just picks the opposite one,
so,
you know?
And so while whatever lane they go to, River Falls just backs off for a little bit, and they shove the other one. So, like, right now, mid lane is the lane they've chosen. And now you see that bot tier 2 falls. Top tier 2 is falling right now. So they're having to sacrifice their other 2 lanes just to deal with the pressure for mid lane, right? So now they send 2 members over to deal with Galio in the top lane, and now we see mid lane starting to get pushed, right? Now we see bot lane continuing to be pushed. So Galio is eating 2 members here, and the tower is still going down because of the Baron empowered minions. Here now mid lane is going down very quickly, so mid lane goes down. They are like, oh crap, what do? We rotate. Now top lane goes down, and now UWRF has suddenly taken mid inhib and the top tier 2
with
and
tempo
the top
on bot
tier
line.
2. Yep.
Yeah.
And now Riven is taking the bot tier, the inhib, which she just took. So now she's gonna run away.
This is fantastic game sense on the side of UWRF, and now we see exactly where
Dodges
that
all the
Galio
charms,
value
and now
comes
look at the mid lane, right? Now it's like, oh, you went for Riven, inhib, gone, right? Now you see all of them rotating up to get this pick in top lane. And then we're going to probably see maybe a top inhib go here.
And this is what I liked. It's not a complete utility dump on the Lee Sin. It's very methodical. Understanding that we can save our ults, like right here, Ivern ult, to kite the rest of the enemies to go in for a winning condition.
So Lee Sin, feeling pressured, makes a mistake, gets caught out, and now this is what we saw earlier.
Ari gets a huge chunk, and that's where Rakan ult comes in.
Where UWRF is just going to clean up the rest of the fight and take the game. So, yeah, just very clean macro play from UWRF after they got... They baited those ults, realized that at the Baron or at the Elder Drake that they didn't have those team fight ults they needed, forced a team fight on the objective, killed 3 members, got that, realized now we can snowball this into a Baron, took that, and then just executed perfect macro and pushed down all the lanes, didn't make any mistakes, didn't get caught out, and then they just they just won the game, right? They waited until Southwest felt pressured enough in the Lee Sin, made a mistake, they caught him out, and then they ended the game. And look at this gold graph, right? that gold graph, UWRF is behind. Could we get the game up again?
Exactly what I was talking about. Southwest Minnesota State University was in the driver's seat for so much of the end game, and then that crucial mistake in the 5v5 bottom side near Elder is just what gave River Falls the win condition.
We see, so like from 25 minutes on, UWRF is just down so much, and then all of a sudden, one mistake and the whole game collapses, and you see their entire lead flips on its head, and that's all that UWRF needed to close the game out. So just really good.
Almost a 6K gold lead back to another 6K gold lead in the opposite direction.
All right, so we're going to be getting into draft for the next game here pretty shortly, so we're going to be right back.
Yep, a little bit of a break, but stay tuned. We'll be back for game 2.
All right.
This is easy.
everybody. For those of you who missed it, UWRF won the first game, so we're currently 1-0, and we're getting into the second game here. Bans looking relatively similar, actually identical to the first game's bans.
Exactly identical.
Except for the Renekton. The Renekton is getting banned out. I forgot what they banned the first game. But I think if they want to pick this Riven, they don't want Renekton to be there again, right?
Kaisa is also
Kaisa, I don't really think was the actual problem that game, but so be it, right?
Another Riven game.
So yeah, first pick Riven. Oh, Aatrox was what was banned last game. They banned away the Aatrox.
And Aatrox is getting picked, so
I think Riven has a pretty good matchup into Aatrox. It's better than Renekton. It's better than Renekton. Sylas picked out here because of the Moo scene. So
oh, interesting. It's a Sylas jungle.
It's a Sylas jungle. Oh. And I think you pick it because Amumu's ult, for those of you who don't know, it has an AP ratio on it. So Sylas uses a Amumu ult better than Amumu does. And late game, if Sylas hits like 16, holy moly. Like that ult will like deal half your health. As well as stun you.
It's a huge amount of damage and a huge stun.
Yes. So it's like a team fight one, essentially, is how it is. Like, right? Like, you might think of, like, oh, of course, Malphite ult's the best Sylas ult. And it's up there. I think Amumu's right next to it. I would say Amumu ults and Malphite ult are some of the best ults in the game for Sylas.
You can make an argument for any ult,
Hui picked into Ahri here, and I think Hui is slightly stronger than Ahri in early game. I'm not too familiar. I haven't really been playing much mid lane as of late. But here we come out. So
Varus Zeri for the ADCs. Now Varus, I'm pretty sure wins against a Zeri pick. Right?
Oh yeah, early 100%.
Because I know
late game no.
Well, I know that Varus is praised a lot, especially on this patch, as just being the most OP AD carry.
I mean, he's
at
very
this
good.
rank of play, or maybe
he's
in
very
5v5
so
where everyone's
he's good in lane. He's good in mid lane, and he always has the potential of just rooting a champion and just like basically getting a kill. But Zeri is also insanely good late in this patch. If you have the skill to pilot Zeri well, which I'm sure Frigidly does, picking this champ, she's just a team fight monster, right? Like, you have so much speed, you have so much damage, you just AoE everywhere, and like you're just impossible to like kill. And like Zeri is still like one of before Smolder, right? Before the mistake that was Smolder came into play, I think Zeri.
Oh, come on now.
Zeri had the most pentakills out of like any ADC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even more than like Samira or like anybody else in like LEC or in like pro play.
Oh, okay.
When Zeri came out, absolutely broken, right? Just like so fast, could just kite around everything, had even more range on her Q.
The sheer mobility.
Like, there was just no counterplay to Zeri. She's definitely been tuned back now, so she's a bit more fair. Not quite as absurd as she once was.
I would still say a monster late game nonetheless.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. She is still a hyper carry, whereas I would argue that Varus isn't quite in that hyper carry position.
Interesting.
He's still strong, obviously, and he can still always like kill the Zeri if she messes up. But like late game, Varus is gonna have such Varus almost needs to predict the Zeri E to like land a root.
Mechanics.
And like Frigidly, if he just holds his E in a 1v1, we'll always win, because if they're even. Late game, because he can just dodge your R, and then you don't, and then you don't do anything, and then you just get run over by Zeri. So I think it's more of that kind of deal, and like also, if you're Varus, you still get one shot by Sylas taking a Mumular. So
that
so
is
it's
true.
like
When we get into late game, we're talking more team fights anyway.
Yeah,
so
and you also have to navigate the Riven trying to one-shot you. You have to navigate Ahri like being able to flank really well with her ult. You have to also stay away from the Rakan charm. And like they did draft a Morgana to probably help with that, give him the spell shield to keep him alive. But like late game, Hui isn't like the mage that scales the hardest. Like, he's very strong on his like first item spike, and then he kind of starts comparatively to mages. He's still strong late game. Falls off like comparatively to your like Syndras, your Victors, your Orianas, like your other control mages. He not.
Still has a lot of range.
He doesn't scale as well. He still has a lot of range,
which can outrange the Ahri. A little bit more of a closer.
He can outrange the Ahri, but then Ahri presses R and then E's him, and then he dies. So
that is true.
It's kind of a it's a skill matchup for sure. Like, he can still predict and throw his like E fear to like stun her and then do some work, but I'm not sure. Like, I think the Varus draft, the Minnesota's draft here is a bit more. It's a bit easier to play. The champs are a bit easier. Mumu's easier than Sylas. Varus is easier than Zeri. Morgana is easier than Rakan. Aatrox is easier than Riven. I'd say the only one is like Hui is a bit harder than Ahri to play.
That's fair.
But that's really it. And so it's like, I think this draft for them is much easier to play, especially with their front line that they've got. They've got the Amumu Aatrox front line, which I think just in general makes your games a little bit easier to play in team fights when you have that front line to fall back on.
I think it makes it a lot more easier to just strictly front to back the enemy.
Yeah, which is like the easiest form of play.
Yeah, it's not like the Lee Sin angle that we saw last game where he kind of has to get into the back line with some sort of ward jump or
exactly.
Q
like,
of some sort.
Lee Sin has a bit harder of a time doing what he like. Lee Sin can't just like run straight into you. Yeah, Mumu is just like, I'm just gonna Q into your team and press R, and it's like, okay. And Lee Sin's like, here, I gotta freaking say my wards to ward hop, and then I'm gonna NECC flash behind you, kick you into my team. It's like, okay, calm down, Lee Sin.
I mean, there can be more flashy things done with Lee Sin, but Mumu still gets the job done nonetheless.
Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, I just know this because I hate playing into the skin. The Aatrox skin that they're running top lane has like a deceptive hitbox on this skin specifically.
With the Qs?
With the Qs.
Oh,
the Qs go farther than they show. And it tilts me every time when I get hit by a Q that I'm like, I was not hit by that animation. Yeah, so this Aatrox skin, a little bit pay to win, just so you know.
To be fair, fighting against any Aatrox could make anybody mad.
it looks like they're not going to opt for their invade strategy this time.
They're five-man jump into
They're not trying to bait with Renekton like they did last game, which resulted in our Galio getting picked early. So this time, just going to play it safe, going to play it honest. Everyone's just going to 5-point, make sure nobody walks in and tries anything sneaky here. So should see the game start equal unless they opt in for a late invade, which we could see, but just based on that they're not moving already, I'm going to assume it's not going to occur.
Very true. I think that the only person that would be able to invade is most likely Sylas, just from the sheer damage. But I think without a team backing him up...
Sylas doesn't really have the damage to kill anyone by himself early, right? That's kind of like the blight of all AP champs, right? It's like Sylas has his one cooldown, and then after that, he's auto-attacking you. So it's like Sylas ease you, and then he does that damage, which doesn't do very much because he has no AP, right? And then he gets his 2 autos, his passive empowered autos, and then that's his burst. You know, like that's all Sylas got, right? Like any champ that has a Doran's Blade is like instantly way stronger level 1 than like a champ that has jungle item. So Sylas can't really like do that, and like if it goes wrong, it's so bad for him. So we're not gonna see really any of that cheesiness come out from that champ, right? I think we'll expect to see this so he gets level 2. They both have level 2 here. Curious to see. I think this Amumu is top lane right now. I'm curious to see if he's looking like he's gonna be pathing bot, but he could opt to maybe try a level 3 gank top lane here. No, he's actually just recalling. I think he's gonna recall into like, I've seen this more popular on like Lee Sin, where you clear your first 3 camps, you recall, you get an item that helps you clear a bit, like a longsword. But this, I don't know about Amumu getting just flat health. I don't know how much that improves the clear. Sylas looking like he's actually going to look for a gank here on Wei. Flash, but the charm comes out.
Charm does land, but the flash was...
Yeah, so huge trade for that. That's going to be the Hui pretty low. He's going to have to play this lane pretty safe into the Ahri now.
I just don't think River Falls had enough buttons to press for that, but they did burn the flash on an otherwise immobile champion.
And here's the thing where, like, Aatrox kind of struggles. Like, if you get onto him early, he kind of has, like, he has a hard time because all of his Qs don't sweet spot you until the 3rd one. And if you are, like, Rivet and you saved your E to, like, kind of dodge his last Q, then you have a pretty big advantage. So I'm actually in favor for the Riven top lane. I think the Riven's going to have a bit of an easier lane here. But here we're just going to see kind of the Ahri just pressing W.
The charm does land.
Gets the electrocute proc, and Hui is going to have to start thinking about backing here pretty soon, right? Because another electrocute charm proc, if like he lands the E before he lands his Q here, like Hui is going to die. And Hui doesn't have the flash to outplay any of this anymore. Ahri still has her flash. She could have potentially maybe even looked for a flash E play to potentially get a kill there, but Hui doesn't give her the opportunity and just takes his back here, gets the tier, and will probably be TPing back to lane. Yep.
Yeah, so the junglers are going to be trading Scuttle, but...
Oh, man, Aatrox using his Q3 here, misses it, and is probably going to go down. There's really, like, yeah, if you're Aatrox early and you use your Q3, it puts it on an incredibly long cooldown, right? Force the cleanse here. Trying to probably give Rakan force the flash. Doesn't have his W. But the gank not going to work out. Cleanse flash burned there in the bot lane, so not nothing. Aatrox TP'd back to lane here. He's going to get a big trade, though.
Taking a little bit of a bad trade,
yeah, so Aatrox, if he's able to get the W, is able to do a lot of damage. And I don't think Riven's going to have the ability here to just shove this wave in. I think Aatrox is going to go for a freeze, but Riven does have the TP to just go back, get her really good buy, and then just leave. Big trade coming out from the side of Hui. Forces the flash, so now both mid laners flashless here. Ahri, though, hadn't recalled, so she's going to be able to go back and get her item here.
Arrow Hunter might be able to catch the wave here in mid.
I think Arrow Hunter was maybe potentially waiting on Ahri coming back.
No vision on Ottoman. Ottoman might be able to get a good little root here from the
misses
Heather,
his
but
Q,
misses!
Goes on the Hui, gets feared away, gets most of his
Arrow
health
Hunter's
gone.
getting shunked down,
but he has the W, so the more it actually heals Sylas if you're below half health more. So,
Pajama's taking a horrible trade
force
in the
the
top
flash,
side.
yeah. So this is where the Riven got way better of a buy than the Aatrox was able to, right? Aatrox got picked early, was forced to recall, and then forced to TP, so he only got double longsword. Riven, however, able to get the pickaxe longsword, which is 15 more AD, which in the early levels, right? AD 15, it's a lot, right? It's a big amount. So Riven able to just kind of probably take over this lane now, just given that she has such a big first buy advantage and is forcing the recall here early, right? So now Aatrox doesn't have TP to come back to top lane, is going to miss this big wave.
Ottoman might be able to catch it, though.
Yeah, Amumu can probably just walk up here.
I think Astral's just looking for a single plate.
He might be afraid, but I assume Riven used her R before Aatrox hit 6 to like get that good trade in, so I don't know if he quite has her R. Oh, she does. She does have her R.
The wave is cut, but almost all the CS is missed by Ottoman. An unfortunate.
He gets the XP, but junglers don't really get that much XP anymore pre-20 minutes.
All the last hits were missed, so he's definitely not getting gold.
Yeah, not getting any of the gold, not really getting a ton of XP for that, so it's going to be a big lead for Riven in the top lane.
There might be a Drake setup, if not a
I think a gank setup is what it's looking like.
Rakan
and Sylas going behind here. Just bot lane has no idea.
Guy does not have
sets up
yet.
Guy here.
And
Morgana going to fall as well, and I expect the Drake to come down here pretty shortly. So UWRF with a fantastic just dive, flank around. Sylas came in with the sweeper, found out they had no vision in river, and just made the call, hey, Rakan, come with me. We're just going to go behind, right? And that was all she wrote. Aatrox getting a pretty good trade in here, but I think Riven can still just shove in the wave and recall if she wants.
I mean, even if Astral, God forbid, takes a horrible trade and gives a solo kill, I think River Falls is still sitting nicely with that Ocean Drake.
Yeah. I mean, River Falls got the grubs, got the Ocean Drake, which was way better than what they had last game. Riven, is that ult? No, it's not.
No, but she might need to expend all here. Devoted
making a thing. Puts down that. It's going to actually root Riven.
Devoted does have R up.
Yeah,
and it is going to be burned. Is it going to be enough damage to take out Astral? The tick does come down. Both ults are burned from the mid laner and top laner from Minnesota.
Watch the Hui Q here, though. Hui does have a crap load of range, can easily snipe you off.
Seems
but
like he's just going to be backing off. Riven makes it out alive. And
looks like the Sylas is invading here. No, he's just sitting around the Raptors, has the Mumu spout out, but that roam top is going to cost Hui. He does lose like a couple waves and gives a couple plates over to the Ahri, so was it worth it to maybe get your Aatrox a little bit back in the game top? I'm not sure. It also looks like Aatrox I'm not sure if Aatrox is opting for the lethality build. He built the Tiamat first, which could either go into Stridebreaker or it could go into Profane Hydra, which is the lethality Hydra. There's 4 Hydras in the game now, so there's 4 options. You could build.
I've just seen both builds, so
I've never seen Gore Drinker. I've never seen our Titanic built on an Aatrox. Aatrox just doesn't build enough health for it to be good.
Well, maybe that's why every single one that I've seen build it loses. But you know,
probably
taking another trade in the top lane, Pajama's going to get
he knows he doesn't have his
tower dive,
R.
and the R comes through. Astral with a great solo kill onto Pajamas. The Aatrox falls, and more plates are going into the.
Amumu opting for a dive here. Gets hit, but is going to end up under tower here. Cleanses, goes away.
Yeah,
Ult
bad
comes
tower
out.
dive by Ottoman.
Dies, actually. Trades back-to-back here. I think, like, this...
I don't know if Frigidly wants to keep
Zeri
taking
should
these
just,
trades.
just give this up. Ooh, huge chunk here in the mid lane with the R on the Hui, but...
But honestly, you're trading your Rakan for the Amumu every time.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's really not a big deal, right? You're in a 3v2 gank, and you end up going even, like, call that a dub, right?
Again,
like,
I'd consider it even more than even. The Amumu is going to be shut down on farm a little bit. Well, potentially, it doesn't look like we're going to see it, but there was the option of having Sylas buff rate a little bit, taking out maybe the red or the blue. Seems like blue is the only buff that is up.
Yeah, so Grubs are coming up here again. So we see already the Rakan rotated up for Grubs.
Riven is actually in place too, just to ensure.
Yeah,
that
it
we
looks
get
like
all 6.
Amumu doesn't. They remember what happened last time where they gave the 6 Grubs, but Riven on the Amumu. Amumu forced to queue onto his golems and is gonna have to probably give away all of these Grubs again.
Those Krugs are blatant angels in the eyes of the Amumu, but the Amumu's going to be sticking around, maybe just farming up those Krugs. Aatrox looks like he's
gonna farm it up, but I don't think this Aatrox Amumu can really contest here, right? Their support Morgana is hanging around in the bot river right now. She's not going to be able to be here for this fight. Riven is significantly chunked you and is going to be able to, like, is stronger than Aatrox currently. She already has her Eclipse, right? Comparatively just to, like, a Tiamat, Eclipse is such an amazing, like, short trade item right now. Probably a little bit.
So much damage when it procs.
Probably, yeah. Well, it does like 20% of your health or something stupid, and then gives you a shield. So it's like you're just like, look at that.
On Riven especially, who already has shields.
And then she walks out. She walks out with her shield. So Aatrox, even though he tries to trade back, basically does nothing to her. So yeah, Eclipse just an absurd early game laning item that if you're able to get it early, because it's cheaper than most items, is just it just lets you snowball so easily. And all that it was needed to give up was a little bit of CS in the bottom lane. Here we have a lane gank being set up by Arrow Hunter here.
I don't think Pajamas has vision.
Yeah, let the Aatrox just walk up a little bit here.
Oh, but Arrow Hunter goes right in with the Sylas Q.
And that's going to be a kill here as well, because he has the R, and the R does isn't execute if you didn't know. The R wave, the beams or whatever you want to call it that come out of Riven's sword.
The large cone, yeah.
Yeah, is actually and he's going to get
Charm
brought
under,
and he gets procced by turret. Ari probably coming in for one more trade here. Going to do massive damage and probably just autos one more time to kill. And yeah, a huge solo kill coming out from UWRF's mid lane onto Hui.
Yeah, Hui missing his first ability is pretty much what done him in right there.
Yeah. So this is already a 5K gold lead here for UWRF at 12 minutes, which is absolutely massive, right? Yeah, it's a 4.5, but you get what I'm saying. It's still a absolutely massive lead. Can we see the gold? I think most of it is on the Riven in the top lane. Yeah, Riven 2K gold.
A colossal amount on the top lane.
Yeah, 2K gold up on this Aatrox. Aatrox not really going to be able to play this game anymore. But luckily for him, his top tower does go down.
A little bit of
coming out of the top.
Arrow Hunter does get rooted. He's not going to be able to go in on anybody yet, but Krillic does get caught. Frigidly is trying to land the autos, but is unable to do it so until finally he does. But the jungler is traded out. Guy is being chunked down as well. There's going to be a TP coming out for the Riven. Oh no, it's actually going to be the Ahri. The mid laner is coming in. Does he have ult is going to be the question. Can they dive this if the W lands, but it doesn't seem like it's going to
actually
be able to.
Actually a 2 for 2, so I think you're more than happy. Now Riven knows Aatrox no W, probably potentially could look for a trade here. Because if you're not familiar, Aatrox really needs his W to actually like set up all of his Qs to like really get his big trade in. And if you are playing Riven, you can just E out of it and pretty easily dodge, or just dodge it.
Ooh, Ottoman might be getting caught here. I believe we still have Rakan.
It looks like the Hui is rotating up to try and kill this Riven here. But will Riven just be able to like one-shot him? Just gets out. She can just Q over, Q away, Q over the wall. It looks like she might be going back in.
Actually.
Meanwhile, there is a fight breaking out in the bot lane over the
war for the scuttle.
Drake. Yeah, it looks like war for the scuttle, but potentially over the Drake. And
there's going to be a setup for Drake.
That might actually
take
down. That might actually take down.
Nope.
Doesn't have the Q to actually like set up the
damage.
The
Eerie does land the boomerang and the charm, chunking him down. But Guy falls in the bottom lane. What is happening?
And it looks like Morgana's going to also be going down here.
Krillic may be able to survive if he can get some support, but no.
He's going to have to burn the flash, and we'll have to see burn flash from Frigidly.
But Eerie does have ult, and this is a champion you do not want to fight when she has this much mobility.
Yep.
Another kill going in the way of the River Falls mid laner, and that is a huge fight for this Drake. That was a great setup by Southwest Minnesota State University, but I think it was just too disjointed in the bottom side of the river.
Absolutely massive for UWRF, right? So not only are, in my opinion, are they playing the better scaling comp than Southwest Minnesota, but they're ahead.
Oh, absolutely.
So it never gets better for Southwest from here, right? Like, there's no point in the game where Southwest is like, yes, we finally hit this spike. We're now caught up, right? It just kind of just gets perma worse for you.
Yeah, I think so.
And here we're gonna watch this Aatrox get about one-shotted, right?
Ottoman is on the way, but it's a little too late.
And now he's gonna get caught out by Rakan.
Ravenhood is here for the CC, and the Riven is there for the damage. Ottoman does
that's
fall, and it's going to be a double kill.
So, yeah, not what you want to happen, right?
No, Astral is 5-0 on this top side. Complete opposite of what we saw with the Riven v Renekton.
Yeah, but again, like, it's a better matchup, right? That's why they banned away the Renekton. They're making UWRF is basically saying, all right, you're going to ban the Riven, or we're going to keep doing this to you, right? Like, we're going to ban Renekton so that you're forced to ban Riven, right? And so here we see Silas able to just get Rift Herald with his bot lane that's now rotated into mid.
With 6 grubs,
and
this is going to
Riven
hit hard.
just gets collects the nice 700 gold from the tier 2 bounty.
Yeah, Guy does get the tier 1 bounty, but did he actually? Yeah,
he got the tier 1. He got the tier 1 turret, but he
Arrow Hunter might catch up. Pajamas, the stun does land, and he's just getting chunked down too quickly.
And so that's the issue with lethality Aatrox, right? You do not have any survivability. All you are is you're focused on damage, and if you get CC'd up, you don't have the health, you don't have the bruiser items to actually live the burst.
All of these grubs are going to be hitting
and
the
now
inhibitor turret.
Arrow Hunter getting down to catch up to Hui here. We could see
Devoted does fall, but can we see the top lane? How far are we going to go with this? Are we going to be able to get an inhibitor pre-20 minutes?
And it looks like Varus is going to be able to walk it out.
Almost Guy is getting chunked. The flash does get burnt by Astral. Are they able to hunt him down?
Almost collects that 1,000 gold shutdown, but Riven forced to flash away to avoid that situation. Just not quite respecting the amount of damage that early game Varus can do when he autos you gets all of those corruption stacks on you and then Qs you to proc him. Does a lot of damage with Varus W. So
yeah, we just have a little bit of a
looks like a
reset
TP
right
is
here.
coming out here from Hui, but Silas just able to walk away. So TP, I mean, at this point, right, Southwest is feeling pressured, right? They're down 2 dragons. They didn't get a single objective top lane this game. So they're just feeling like, hey, we need to make a play, and the longer we wait...
and the Morgana are going to be going in on the Silas pretty soon in the top
side.
Yep,
so gets Hui ult here.
Arrow Hunter does
coming out.
Chunked.
And Morgana probably going to go down. Forced to burn her Zonias there. Just I forget what the Seeker's arm guard now. In case you weren't aware, Stopwatch no longer in the game. It's
Ooh, Pajama's going to get chunked down under turret.
but he doesn't realize he's still taking tower shots, I don't think. So he's going to actually just have to back up and leave because, well, who knows? Oh, but this...
Amumu is pushing in the lane on
Varus
the
might
side.
be able to Q this bush, and he gets the kill.
And he does! I don't even know if he had vision there or if it was a guess, but it doesn't really matter because Ottoman is going to get immediately traded out. It's going to be 1-for-1 on the bot side, even though that neither of the fights were really related.
Yeah, so they Ari didn't have really any vision, and she kind of recalled in a greedy spot. Another shutdown going to Varus. Varus collecting 2,000 gold shutdowns, I think.
And this is what we were talking about earlier. Southwest Minnesota State,
Varus is now 1,000 gold up on the Zeri, who he'd been who had been behind the whole game, right? Zeri had 5 kills and was like kind of running away, and then all of a sudden, boom, 2 shutdowns right on Varus, which is their carry this game. So this is going to make maybe UWRF pause a little bit more thing. They see the Hextake coming out here.
This might be a big mistake from Ottoman. There's no vision next to the Wolves.
Just had no idea. He
is very tanky, gets the stun down, but
he doesn't own his jungle anymore, right? That's what happens when you've lost your tier 2 mid and your tier when you start losing those tier 1s and then you lose even more by losing your tier 2s. You can't just go into your jungle, especially if you're without vision. This, right? Like his team can't really take any 5v5s at the moment, right? They need to rely on getting these like pickoffs on the side lane, and you know, if you walk into your jungle,
might be going in for a solo kill right now.
Yeah.
Ari does have ulta.
Ari probably has
can ult over the wall if needs be, but the knockups are going huge right now from Jamis. Can he go for the kill?
But gets hit by
Knocks
Q3,
up again.
forced to flash, and is gonna actually just run away and barely live. But yeah, no.
The Q1 and 2 on Aatrox almost cemented the demise for the Ahri, but she is able to get over the wall. And the Ahri ult is burnt. That's not honestly what you want for the mid lane.
I mean, it's a pretty whatever right now. Like, so.
Oh, but it doesn't matter when Arrow Hunter is able to just
force flash from
Varus,
but Varus just gets charmed up right after by the Rakan and just falls shortly.
Ridley is also falling very, very short.
Rakan just tanking that Q for his team there, not allowing the thing. And now Sylas just has the Q. Amumu just doesn't have the damage to finish these 3 champs off and is going to probably get run out. Riven in the high lane. Burns his ult to try and get a kill, but isn't able to. Right? If you can't kill Sylas just presses W and heals back up. It's a menace for tank champs, right? Tank champs that don't have the damage to kill Sylas just will never be able to because he's just going to keep getting his W. He's just going to keep healing. And, like, you're just not going to have the damage without your team there. So
the top inhibitor and the Chemtech Drake are now belongings of River Falls. They cannot be brought back.
It looks like River Falls Ahri is going to actually opt for I think a Leandre's here.
Very interesting.
Oh, what the heck is going on?
Maybe a little bit of a reho, some technical difficulties, but
no. There we go.
No problem.
Something came up. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but
that's all right. We're back in business. We just caught Sylas chicken farming. Gonna go back to the fountain, so we're gonna be in for a little bit of a reset right now, but that does not mean that this game is slowing down by any means. River Falls still wants to take these fights. They are stronger
River Falls pinging the Baron here. So River Falls is thinking, hey, we're far enough ahead. We want to force a Baron fight here. Potentially maybe look for an end. You know, like, they're like, the worst that can happen is the enemy team comes here and we turn on them. Yeah, like you stop hitting Baron so that you don't give them a chance to steal it, and you just go and fight them, right?
Arrow Hunter is getting chunked.
And it seems like they don't even have. It feels like the Southwest Minnesota doesn't even have an idea that Baron's being done right here, right?
There's no vision. There's no red words that I can see on the
top
side.
so they have no vision on the top, but it's very hard for them to even have the vision, right, when you're so down, right? And that's like how these games sometimes like snowball out of
Astral's
control,
going
right?
in for another split push. I don't think they're going to be able to even 1v2 him.
Yeah, so
Astral, down 4 people.
Astral needs to be careful here because he's the only
1v4.
He's the only one on the map, so his flash burned, but he's going to get the yeah. So I think that's a bit of a mistake from Astral, right? His whole team just did Baron, and no one showed up from the enemy team to actually contest that. He's the only one showing on the map, right? He's the only one on an enemy wave. So the enemy team is just like, oh, I know where you are. Sylas takes the Amumu
might be
ult
caught
here.
Again, there is no portal for him to get to safety, so he is just going to be running around doing nothing.
But yeah, we're going to have to watch the Sylas here.
Astral going in with a little
Looks
bit of
like UWRF might be aiming for an end now. If Sylas gets in with this ult, it could be absolutely devastating.
Charm lands on Guy, and there's a huge amount of damage coming out from the Rivenar. But Guy does not fall. He's going to be able to go back to the fountain and heal
if
up.
If Sylas comes over the wall here and gets onto these squishies, we could see an ult come out. Boom, half their health, and that's all of them dead. Exactly what I was saying, right? Just an absolute nuke.
Ult.
Yeah,
oh, it's
absolute nuke on Sylas. So we actually, this is going to be the end for UWRF here, right?
Yeah,
they have Baron.
They
have a super minion here. They're just going to be able to quick break down these turrets, and with 3 members dead on the enemy team here, what can they do, right?
Unless Guy and Ottoman can make a miracle play, this one is done and dusted for the books. 2-0 victory inside of River Falls. Well-deserved, well worth it, and a great learning experience.
Yeah.
Good show of both teams' valor and skill.
Yeah, UWRF looking much more dominant this game, right? Instead of having that, can we see the gold graph this game? Once we go to
huge damage,
we have to go into
Astral,
overview after. You have to go into.
In case y'all didn't see it, the Riven damage was skyrocketed from this game.
We don't get to see it.
It was absolutely
tragedy.
Absurd.
We don't need to see it, but basically this game, the Falcons were never not in the lead, right? They didn't make any mistakes. They didn't lose any fights. They kind of just got ahead in the top lane, basically pushed that, got their 2 top objectives. The bot lane wasn't ahead enough to contest Drake, and they kind of just ceded every objective on the. I don't even think Southwest Minnesota was able to get any objectives that game.
No, not a single one. Did we get 6 scrubs and I believe 3 Drakes, including
3 Drakes. Yep, and Barons and Rift Herald. So
there
was really nothing that Southwest was actually able to do. And look at that goal graph, right?
There was not a single time when Minnesota was in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Complete stomp from River Falls.
This looks a lot different from last game's gold graph. A lot less swinging, a lot less like a roller coaster, right? This is how you should play League of Legends, right? You get your advantage and you just gradually snowball that advantage over the course of the game until you win. And you know, if UWRF can keep playing like this and maybe pull another game like this, the championship for NECC is going to be very easily in their hands.
Oh, absolutely. I think that they're in the running for sure. I think that if they keep playing like they did today, where, yeah, there were a few hiccups in game one, but they were able to adapt really well to their mistakes. They were understanding their win conditions. They understood, guys, we can't keep feeding them these front-to-back kills. We need to play how our team comp wants to play, right?
Yep. So, like we're being pointed out, so UWRF 2-0 in this best of 5. So that means, so that means next game, if they were able to take next game, that's going to be the series for them. But anyway, we'll have to see how the two teams adapt coming into the next match, right? UWRF obviously looked like they did some adaptation from the first game to the second, and we'll have to see if Southwest Minnesota can come up with anything on how to stop UWRF from snowballing the game like this. So we will be right back after draft.
Absolutely. We'll see you then.
Well, we've just received some news, some anticlimactic news, you could say. The other team has forfeited the match. I'm not sure exactly the reasoning behind it. It just seems like one of their players left, saying they had to go. We're not sure if it was like a rage quit or if it was a misunderstanding that this was a best-of-5 series or what the case is, honestly. But regardless, they have forfeited the match, and I guess we won the series.
Yep.
So.
Some say it was an urgent need to leave. Some say they left out of fear. But it does not matter because River Falls will be taking this series and I believe going to Nationals, if I'm
Is this for Nationals?
not mistaken.
They're
They're going
going
to
to
Nationals. So
Nationals.
that is a huge accolade for the varsity team here at River Falls. So we will see them again.
I have no idea.
I'm unsure about the exact schedule, but I'm sure we will find out and let you know.
In a week? All right.
Much shorter than I anticipated, but we will be there to cheer them on, as I'm sure you will. And huge congrats, again, to the UWRF Varsity League team. You guys have earned it. You guys have played phenomenally. And, amazing games to cast.
Yeah, that was very fun. Thanks for casting with me tonight. And congratulations to our league team. Interview? Interview?
We're actually going to
get in
stick
here
around for a little bit of a player
wants
interview.
to get in here?
Ethan will be subbing in for me, and Vinny will be interviewing him.
All right. Yeah.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Pretty hyped.
Pretty hyped?
A little anticlimactic at the end there. We were expecting a game 3, but
I was looking forward to you guys seeing what was going to happen in game 3, what the adaptations are going to be, what the bans are going to be. But, well, whatever.
We will take it. I mean,
it is what it is, right?
Champions.
Champions. So, what was so obviously the first game was kind of rocky and kind of what we call a steal, right? You guys kind of got away with like highway robbery there. What was the realization? Like, did we finally realize we needed a kite Swain ult?
Oh, actually, yeah. So before the game, Dylan, our coach, that's exactly what he told us. He said either we have to burst down Swain fast or kite back. What we did was none of that.
Yeah, you bursted down Nautilus every fight.
Every fight I was calling like burst Swain, but then our team is split everywhere.
Yeah.
We're getting shredded everywhere. We lose every fight. All of a sudden, Ridley goes in our ears, or Frigidly, and he just, guys, I think if we just kite back, we win. And we were like, wait, that's right.
Sense.
And then the one fight at Elder Drag where they popped everything right away. We ran back. I popped Shirelias.
You popped Shirelias, and you just used the movement speed to get out. For some reason, that Swain didn't buy Rallies. I was very surprised that he didn't buy that because I feel like that's either a first or second item on him.
Oh, yeah. I think it would have helped. I mean,
yeah,
once he popped R, it was – I have Shirelias.
Yeah, exactly.
I just press it. We run straight away.
He didn't have anything keeping you there. So, yeah, you just ran away. They didn't have Nautilus R. They didn't have Swain R. Did they use anything else? I wasn't sure.
I'm not even sure. Yeah.
But then you guys just re-engaged with your alts and wiped them. And then, like, oh, we got Elder. Now we're going to go force Baron. And then you got Baron. And then it was just like, okay, now we're going to 1-3-1. Which you guys played really well on your macro there where you just, like, pushed all your lanes, and then you're like, all right, which lane are you going to? And then whoever lane they went to, you guys just kind of like backed off and got turrets in the other 2 lanes. So
yeah, that was actually probably one of the best Baron pushes we've had all season.
You guys clean.
We were very on the same page of nobody was getting caught out. Like 2 came top for me. I had cannon, so I kept taking turrets anyway, and I just stood there.
Yeah.
Mid was pushing. We just played it really, really well.
Yeah. After you guys got your buffs and we were like in the driver's seat, you just played it really, really cleanly, and you punished them really, really hard. And
that was how it should have gone the entire game. I really think that game 1, I really think we could have stomped that game as well, just like the second game, but we just played bad. On an individual level, almost like all of us played bad, and then at the end we realized, wait, let's just play what the team comp does. We did that, and then. From then on, coming into game 2 with the momentum, we were like, we are better individually. We can, if we all don't int, we're going to be fine, and we didn't int.
So was there any other new strategies or adaptations that you were specifically focused on going from game 1 to game 2?
So game 1, I was on Galio, so we weren't able to punish their mid laner much. Game 2 with Ari, we were basically calling, if we burn this kid's flash, he is going to die on repeat. We can kill him over and over again. like just target him really hard. We still didn't. Like I definitely should have played more aggressively in lane.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I was making the call. I was like, I'm surprised you didn't like flash him.
Yep.
And just get the kill when he was like really low and was like definitely greeting his TP. Like he was greeting his staying in lane. Like he should have just recalled earlier. But I was like, nope, we don't see it. And then you unfortunately got your flash burned later, so you weren't able to like really abuse him in lane.
Me and Dylan also talked. I mean, I definitely should have just straight up R killed him over and over again. I mean, as soon as he burns flash, I could just R on him, kill him over and over again. What I was thinking in game was, if I can just chunk this kid over and over again, and like I'm just chunking him for all of his health, he's not going to be effective anywhere. Yeah. And if I save my ultimate, I can go anywhere on the map and win a fight with my ult. So I didn't want to use it for the skirmish. But
and what Dylan was kind of saying is just like, oh, if you kill this guy, you can go anywhere anyway, right? Like you can either take plates or you can go wherever you want. So that was definitely something like I did notice a little bit in the game. I was like, man, he could have really like just made a play. Like it definitely is like risky, but like if you get that play off, it's like you crack the game pretty
I kill him for sure.
I was also gonna say the Renekton ban was also like something that I was thinking was like pretty like maybe not like the biggest deal, but like giving your Riven like a much easier matchup. I would honestly say that like a Riven Aatrox is like more favored for you guys.
Yeah.
Like I play Aatrox a bit, and like any character that can just like get on top of you is always like hard for you, because if you miss your Q3, you're just done.
In game 1. Brady actually called for that ban. He did not want to he was calling to leave the Aatrox up, and Dylan had ended up like running out of time banning that jump.
Yeah.
So we kind of like unfavorably banned there, and then the second game we just
you
fixed
didn't make that mistake. Yeah, exactly. He
did what Brady does.
Exactly. Just stomped him in lane. Like I was gonna say like Riven into Renekton is definitely hard. I don't play Riven, but I do play Renekton. So like every time I see a Riven, I'm just like. I'm gonna kill you, bro. Like it's just like it's so easy for the Renekton to play that matchup, and it's so hard for the Riven, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna wait for you to make a mistake, and then I'm gonna kill you, and there's not gonna be much you can do about it. So yeah, I mean, and then also just like in top lane meta right now, like the first person to get like Eclipse, it's so over for you. It's like you get that, and they go on you, they hit you twice, get a shield, take 20%, take a chunk of your health from the proc, and then you're like, let me trade back, and then you just hit their shield, and you're just sad. And then it's like, oh well, can't wait to have that to happen in 6 seconds. And so like
Eclipse is really good right now.
Yeah. But definitely just like cleaner all around. We were laughing really hard at the gold graph from first game comparatively to like the gold graph from second game. Like gold graph from first game was just like, and then all of a sudden the gold graph from like the second game was just like whoop. Like you guys never dropped your lead. You didn't like give them a single objective. You didn't drop any of your like. You didn't make any mistakes, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that really is how it should have gone game 1. Like when we are firing on all cylinders, I really do think we could beat a lot of teams. Yesterday was
I was like, you're definitely thinking about yesterday, and I'm like, firing on all cylinders? I don't know about that one. Like that would be a hard one, but like most of the teams that are relatively like close to your skill level, for going teams that are literally like their lowest ranked players still higher ranked than all of your players, it's like that's always a rough game to play.
It definitely is, but I mean,
anyone you want to shout out on the team in particular that you thought played really well through either via comms or?
I've got to say this kid right here, Fridgley.
Yeah.
So all season, generally he's pretty quiet. Generally it's me making the shot calls. Game 1. I was playing like garbage. I was upset. I didn't know what to do. I was lost. I was not making calls. And he really came into the ear, and he was just like, guys, can we not just, like, do this and win? And it was like, wait, that's exactly what we need to do. And then we won, and it was like, okay, thank you, Ridley. We needed that.
Yeah.
And so –
shout out Ridley.
And the weak side warrior right there. He – you know, we play a lot around top side. We leave him, and there was a good while at the beginning of the year where he would die and get punished bot lane, and then – now you're pressing tab. He's down 10 CS and he's up 3 kills. It's like, oh my gosh, he's even and we're winning.
Yeah. Ridley definitely is. Well, I see him fighting for himself a lot in the early levels when it's like you see the support roaming up for Void Grubs. You see him trying to make a play mid lane or whatever, and Ridley's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna drop the CS, whatever. Like I'll just sit under point and like tower, hope they don't come to kill me. And then like the one time the Lee Sin did come to kill him, he's like, I'm gonna try to run away. And it's like, yeah, you can definitely tell he's got some experience playing on the weak side of the team there, but definitely doing like if you do get away with it, right? If you do all those things, like it can be really big for the rest of your team. So.
No, it really has always been kind of an anchor for us. I mean, we play heavily around topside, and when topside doesn't go well, we struggle because that is what we do. But we can always kind of rely on Ridley to just be quietly super fed, and then halfway through some of our games, we have to realize, press tab, look, he's like 6-1, and it's like, wait, we just have to play around Ridley. He's fed, like, wait, he's fed right now. Play around him. We can win. Exactly. And then he's carried plenty of times.
Yeah. So. No, congratulations, you guys. I think we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys in Nationals. Hopefully we can make a splash there. So best of luck to you guys. And
thank you so much. Yeah, so exciting. We got it back.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be us signing off for the night. Thank you guys for watching, whoever tuned in. And, we'll see you guys in a week, hopefully.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace out.